All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to talk to you about Bryan Kohberger. He is the defendant in the Idaho University student killings case. And recently, the prosecution and the defense have come to an agreement that the trial will take place, not this year, but in June of 2025. There's been a lot of motion practice in this case where the defense is trying to exclude certain pieces of evidence, attacking the DNA evidence that linked Bryan Kohberger to this case, to the crimes, and the allegations against him in this case. But there's also some news based on a journalist releasing a book. The journalist's name is Howard Blum. He released a book called When the Night Comes Falling, a Requiem for the Idaho Student Murders. And in that book, he really summarizes all the investigation he's done as a journalist into this case. And he has a theory. He has a theory that Bryan Kohberger allegedly knew exactly who he was targeting. And that would have been Madison Mogen, one of the young women who tragically lost their life in this incident. And why does he say that? Well, he thinks that Bryan Kohberger went straight to her room and likely knew who he was targeting and who he wanted to go kill first, allegedly. And he bypassed these other rooms where there were other individuals in those rooms, and he went straight to Madison, aka Maddie Mogen's room in order to find her. And that's the allegations or the reporting by this individual in his book. This is Howard Blum's book. And whether that is the case, we will have to wait and see what evidence the prosecution is going to be bringing forward in this case. Of course, we know that Bryan Kohberger was arrested after there was a DNA hit with his familial DNA, and that of a DNA sample that was collected off a knife sheath that was found at the scene of the crime. And that's how prosecutors and law enforcement linked Bryan Kohberger with the deaths of these four individuals that he is charged with now in an indictment for murder. And this book that was released has this theory. And of course, we'll have to wait and see how the prosecution ends up putting forth their case. The defense really being aggressive in trying to knock out some of the evidence that they believe the prosecution is going to be relying on at trial. And that would be the DNA evidence and also some cell phone site data evidence. We're going to have to wait and see. The trial is set now for June of 2025. I imagine there's going to be more motion practice from the defense that the prosecution is going to have to answer with oppositions to make sure that they have a case that's going to come in front of that jury with all the evidence intact and nothing precluded or suppressed. And that's what the defense wants. But go check out that book. I think it's probably an interesting one. And of course, it has this theory that Bryan Kohberger knew exactly who he was going for first when he entered the house, according to the allegations in the indictment against him by the prosecution. I'm Imran Ansari, and you are watching A Moment of Zen, and this is a little legal update. So keep watching, keep listening. Take care.